Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm doing a series called What Makes This Singer Great, and next up is Jim Morrison from The Doors. If you guys wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. That'd be really cool. Don't forget to ring that bell, that way I can keep more cool videos coming your way. And I have a singing course. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. You can find it right here at kentamplinvocalacademy.com for any of you interested in learning how to sing or getting better at singing. So what do I think of when I think of Jim Morrison? Like we've said before, it's not just his singing, what about his singing makes him great. It's what about him makes him great or memorable, or what made him a legend in this case. And a few things for me. The first thing is we'll go through some songs, of course, like Light My Fire, and I'm going to play some excerpts from that. But I would think of him as kind of being really mysterious, druggy, very psychedelic, kind of like my shirt. I think of tragedy, dying early. A lot of those guys, overdosed and died early, from Hendrix on down. I mean, Janis Joplin, you name it. Those guys are really strung out. And that also added to his artistry and took away from his artistry, right? I think of him as being kind of like an original pop crooner, right? Because his vocal style was very crooner-esque. Think of kind of Sinatra, but in a rock pop sort of way, right? Kind of interesting. Innovative, very innovative songs and innovative songwriting, trend-setting for sure. Very handsome guy. He was very much looked up to by a lot of women, guys too, but definitely a swooner and a crooner. I think of as being an influencer. He influenced a lot of people for a lot of generations. It's amazing. To this day, people still love Jim Morrison. I think of him as being timeless. He had a timeless look about him, a timeless sound about him. I think of being the epitome kind of the 60s, 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Again, very dark and kind of creepy. If you really think about it, he had some kind of creepy, the Ghost Diaries, or I forget the, it's been a long time since I looked at their music, but very unsettling, unsettling. Riders on the Storm. I remember as a kid hearing that song, I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy. It was like a spirit about it that made it kind of weird. Light My Fire, of course, is one of the songs. We got Riders on the Storm I just mentioned. Love Her Madly, just kind of a happy, won't you love her madly? Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name, right? So definitely some timeless classic pieces. If I missed some, please put them in the comment sections that were songs you resonated with. But let's just play this here for a minute. We'll make some comments along the way. And this is Light My Fire. So here we go. See all the psychedelia? Feels like you're underwater.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar.
Kind of serious.
If I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
Cool. Now the other thing too is, it wasn't about how incredible his voice was, or he didn't really have any range. He was more of a baritone, right? He is a baritone, and he had a sexiness to his voice, and he had a lot of confidence in the sound. So you got the feeling that he didn't care what you thought he's going to sing, right? That's sort of the impression that I get. Here we go.
Time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Shine now, we can only lose.
Got the James Bond dancers in the background.
Become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Good pitch.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on. Oh, yeah, come on, baby.
Very druggy. This was like the epitome of this era. I don't care if it's the Mamas and the Papas. I don't care if it was Jefferson Starship or Jefferson Airplane, at the time. Whatever. That whole era had this kind of whole vibe going on, right? Like 60s and 60s boogaloo, just very, very psychedelic. Very interesting. Hairstyles. I grew up in the 70s, so this is, a little older for me because it was older, late 60s, and I was born in 63.
Hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire.
Now, if you look at his eyes, he's just kind of just. Just took some LSD and you, girl, we couldn't get much higher, right? He's got that kind of like, whoa, dude, kind of look on his face.
Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
Now, for you music enthusiasts there, guitar players, keyboard players, whatnot, some of those arrangements were pretty complicated. Some of those chord structures were pretty interesting. They weren't typical. Go back through and figure some of those songs out, and they weren't just, E, did a D, at a A, right? No, there's some really interesting composition there. So kudos to them for that, because it's very creative.
Know that it will be untrue. Know that I would be a liar
It's live.
if I were to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Feels like it lost his voice a little
Come
there.
on, baby, light my fire.
Just kind of going to something else.
Try to set the night on fire.
But that was also something that was interesting about that era, and I'm not in any way advocating drugs or promoting that in any way. But there was a thing where they could go off onto these tangents, and they could do these impromptu jam session kind of things, and even him singing different vocal lines and stuff. Very unlike today. I mean, they were just being very. Vamping on something and just moving on to different things, being creative. And there was a lot to be said for that, because I don't care if it was Led Zeppelin, seeing The Who, seeing a lot of bands back then where they would just kind of take you on a journey, like on this musical journey. And it was interesting because like every night was different, and every night they would do something different. I think that's pretty stinking awesome. So, and again, drugs played a huge role in that, and it cost them their life. But so tell me what you guys think of when you think of Jim Morrison. Please put it in the comment section. What did I miss? What comes to mind when you first think of them? What do you think of the band as a whole? And most of this, I'm doing this by request, so please put in the comments section who you'd like to hear me cover. That'd be great, and definitely check out my next video.